Hey everyone, so today I actually wanted to do something different. I want to go through a bunch of articles that I have pulled up regarding gambling. It's been such a surge in at least the past couple of years, especially in 2025. DraftKings and other platforms have been heavily advertising, and all these celebrities are endorsing advertising for gambling, and it's been such a problem. So let's go through some articles and some interesting facts about gambling and how it affects your investments overall because you're losing money to gambling. So let's go through them together and see what we can find. So we see here it's a very fun little, nice little website about gambling addiction statistics and facts from 2025. And I went through a little bit. There's some very interesting issues that we need to address here. We see here that a problem gambler in California, and we can look at the citations later, have $46,000 in gambling per year. And that's insane because that much money invested in a year, you would easily become a millionaire when you retire. 20 million people in the United States struggle with gambling, and that's a concern. 15 times higher suicide rate. So gambling alone sets you up for failure and to ruin your life and your family's lives. And 75% of problem gamblers are slot machines. And I more wanted to look at, gambling regarding sports betting, so we'll look at that in a little bit. But some interesting facts. Latvia actually has the highest gambling in the world. Fun fact. 20 million Americans have a problem gambling. Oklahoma, of all states, have a higher rate of gambling than any other states. And the social cost is $30,000 per year per addict. So mostly men. And we see here that even gamblers smoke more, and 26% of alcoholics. So being a gambler predisposes you, or maybe the other way around, that 60% are problem gamblers smoke and are alcoholics. So 3% of American gamblers have actually more than $300,000 in gambling debts. That is crazy. That's literally a house. You can support your entire family with a house. So we look at worldwide statistics. China has the most gambling addicts in the world, close to 60 million. Australia has 3.1% have problem gambling, way lower than America, but still, these are some insane statistics. You can take a look at this article. I'll put it in the bio. So if we look at what percentage of sports bettors are profitable, this is very interesting because a lot of gamblers say, "Oh, I won $10,000, I won $20,000," but most will lose. Of course, it's a game of the house wins. So 3 to 5% are consistently profitable, which is absolutely crazy to say that you're one of those winners because everyone says that there's no way that you're all in the 3 to 5%, and 95% or more will have lost. 5% less are consistently make a profit over 365 days. So you gotta be a really good proficient gambler, and that may be simple gambling like, betting that one team wins or that there'll be this many points in the game, over under, some more simple gambling odds. For every 100 people betting, only 3 to 5 will basically win. So basically, you're set out to lose. 95 to 97% of you will lose money. So why even bother gambling? Is it, the thrill? Is it the chance of winning big? Because if you just are patient and stick with the market, you can get 10% minimum gains per year. And if you don't even do that and you just do a high yield savings, you're guaranteed to get 5% a year in interest. So these are some issues. Another article about, gambling. Here I wanted to share some more stats. 1/4 of sports bettors say that they're unable to pay a bill. That's a concern. Imagine you have kids, you can't pay for the lights, you can't pay for your car. How are you going to get them to school and how are you going to get them to social activities? 30% say they have debts attributed to gambling. Again, crazy. Why would you ever have gambling debt? Gambling is something that you shouldn't even do. 15% of sports bettors taken out a loan to gamble. And more than half of sports bettors say they carry a credit card balance from month to month. 21% of sports bettors say they verbally abuse an athlete. So, they're more prone to violence and to yell at people for no reason. 1/4 of sports bettors worry that they can't control their gambling. Again, that's a concern. And here, we actually are seeing that people actually believe that sports betting is a tool for an investment, which is crazy because we know that most people lose in gambling, so it cannot be a way to earn money and invest because there's no rate of return unless you're winning once every couple of times and put that money instantaneously in the market and think that the market's going to outperform what you put in with what you're going to lose on gambling. So here we're saying 40% of them say they've seen a gain in the past 12 months, suggesting the rest did not. We know that's a statistic that is different in the other website, but still, how much did they win? $5, $10, and how much did they lose? So again, this is just the same article. Sorry, I pulled it up twice. So essentially, gambling is a really big problem for people across the world, especially when it's become more prevalent. But the better thing to do is take the money that you would have spent gambling and invest it in the market. The market last year, if you were in emerging stocks, you would have seen 35% gains. If you left it in the average S&P or VO or VTI, you would have seen like 17 to 23% gains. Money is free. Here you're giving casinos and other gambling entities billions of dollars, and you're sitting on losing it, and you're having other issues such as smoking and alcoholic and then even suicide. So this is a informational video about gambling and to invest instead.